Hey, and welcome to Tales from the Dark Side. Real quickly, I can't believe I'm doing this. I cannot believe I'm doing this, but we discussed it, and I have to give the spoiler warning. I mean,
it came out in 2008.
Yeah, I know. But you know how it goes. We're going to get one underneath while everybody else is down there hitting the like button. They're hitting the subscribe button. They're doing all the stuff they should be doing, like leaving comments. Yeah, we have to have a running thing to say spoilers because even though it's in 2008, somebody's going to get a little bit hurt and say like, hey, you didn't give spoiler warning. So here it is. This is your spoiler warning. We are going to be talking about Clone Wars, the theatrical animated release of the movie. Guys, if you haven't watched it ever before and want to, pause here, go down, give the thumbs up, make a little comment down below, say, hey, thanks for giving us the spoiler alert. Make fun of Jensen for saying it's 2008 and you still haven't watched it yet. That's perfectly fine because, hey, that's how it works. Then come back, hit us back up, and we'll give you the rest. We're going to step out here real quickly, give you our intro, come back, and we're going to get into it, guys. All right? All right, welcome back. We're already here. I got my co-pilot, so with me for along for this ride. Pete, the leader of all things toys. He's doing great things. I know it's not Star Wars, but I'm a huge fan of the Muscles. And if you haven't watched that show, make sure you go down there, hit it up real quickly. And then we've got Jen. Jen, the interview you guys did this last week was perfect from Comic Book Women. Make sure you're checking them out and the stuff they're doing. On MCM, me and Solo Wookie did have a different opinions on Dr. Aphra. So go back that and watch that from over the weekend. But with all that stuff out of the way, make sure you hit the like button. And we're going to get into Clone Wars, the movie. Apparently, I have to say that it's a theatrical release of the animated cartoon. What's that?
Animated feature.
I didn't know people didn't know that. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't know people wouldn't know that. But that's apparently what it is. So it's that hour-and-a-half long movie thing that they showed. Not the Gendry version where it was like the Ninja Jack stuff where it was like those little 12-minute clips that they all put together into two things. By the way, we're really thinking we should review that also. So we might get into it. We really might. Make sure you leave a comment someplace and we will decide we're going to do it. We just don't know when we're going to do it. You please leave a comment either way, but we're going to do it. So a little quickly housekeeping, I guess you could call it. We came up with the official list here. I know we can't see this, so we're going to make it a little bit bigger for you. This is the YA to watch it. This is the first 14 episodes, kind of. The movie here is in the third spot where it says T for what? Theatrical release, maybe theater. Yeah, who knows? We're actually going to do that one first. Next week, we'll come back and we will do 1 and 2, which is episode 216, 116. But it's named, the key is Cat and Mouse and Hidden Enemy. So,
and then real quick, so people, in case you're confused, it's not 216. It's season 2, episode 16, season 1, episode 16.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the end of the first season, yes, and the end of the second season. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I have a feeling we're going to need a lot of clarification for this stuff, which is good. But we're going to watch those 2 this week, and then we will come and review those. And then we'll get right back into the regular order, which will be Clone Cadets and Supply Lines. I actually really do like Cat and Mouse and Hidden Enemy. They are 2 great. And since they were supposed to be kind of like the end of the caps, I think they'll work out perfectly. Either way, I think we have burnt enough time that now we could show you a little clip. So we are going to go into a little bit of clip to start.
Too many, Captain! Want to stabilize a Gold 6! Anybody cover me! I got 2 vultures on my tail! You've got to hold them here! Watch your left! I can't shake them! I'm hit! I'm hit! Where's the reinforcements?
All right, so Jen made us put that in there. So Jen, explain what was going on there, why we had to start the show off with that.
I just thought, like, when I rewatched it, I'm like, how did I pick up on this the first time, right? That you're hearing the comms from the clones. And it's like they're in trouble, but you're like, wow, that's like really good, subtle intro to the Clone Wars movie, but then into the whole series, I thought.
Yeah, I definitely did. There's a lot of cool stuff in this movie. I thoroughly enjoy it. I finally let all the heathens, all 8 of them, watch it today, and they liked it. I haven't been letting the young ones watch it yet, but they all liked it. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. It deals with some funny characters. There's some favorites in it too. Obviously, it starts off, there's a little bit of a battle. I will say this, the interesting part too, which was very telling, was there's a part where Palpatine comes in when he's not Palpatine, when he's the senator, and he says, Yeah, this is something that the Jedi need, or something to that effect. He says, like, because the whole premise of this is Jabba's son has been captured, and he wants it back. And whoever gets it back, if it's a separatist or if it's the Republic, he's going to allow them to have free travel through the Outer Rim. When it goes to Palpatine, he doesn't say the Republic needs this. He says the Jedis need to do this. We need this for the Jedis, which is very interesting considering he's not a Jedi and the Republic wasn't really supposed to be ordering around the Jedis at that point.
And I almost thought like I wondered after listening to this part 2 if he gets like a weird satisfaction out of it, because he's basically like, oh, you guys need to put all your Jedi on it, and like knowing that they're going to say, oh, we're kind of spread kind of thin. So like, I mean, throughout the whole entire, like everything, I feel like he just must get like joy because, you know, he's playing chess and he moves ahead and he's just like,
Yeah, well, that's more. Yeah, sure. No, that's great. I didn't even think about that, but I was just thinking about how I kind of was. It's kind of like he already knows what he's doing. I did also find it funny that Mace Windu, who then decides to go later on because we know the ending, but was kind of like, I don't think this is the greatest move because we're spread thin, instead of like, no, we need to have a council meeting about this and we're going to straighten it out. But then again, you wouldn't have a movie and that would be the end of that. So they definitely had to start it off with two of your favorites, Obi-Wan and Anakin, on a planet fighting off the separatists. There was a cool, like, Pete, I don't even know. So you feel free to throw in any of these pictures at any time that you want. There's a cool little part there where they did like the Princess's Bride thing. So so at one point the separatist guy's like, let's go down. He's like, you're going to negotiate your surrendering. And they put all the stuff around it and they sat down in the middle and they made it look kind of like the stone thing at the Princess's Bride.
Oh, I see.
And then they have this chat back and forth where he's like, well, which is this? Is this? Am I going to surrender? Am I not? It's kind of like the poisonous in the cup and the poison back and forth. They kind of did it, which obviously Obi-Wan was not surrendering. The verbiage there was very good. They were just waiting. We were introduced to a new character at the time. One that maybe wasn't so popular. When you got to see it, do we have a picture of who we're talking about here? We do somewhere. Oh, we have it with there. So Yoda ended up sending Ahsoka Tano in. At first, Anakin was giving Obi-Wan a hard time about it because he was like, hey, look, that's your Padawan. Keep teaching people, keep raising it up. And then when it got there, it was like, no, Yoda sent that for you, Anakin. And he's like, well, I don't teach. It was very interesting how Obi-Wan was trying to tell him, I don't know if you caught it, but he's like, this is the duty to have a Padawan is the duty of a Jedi.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's not really my duty. My duty is just to destroy things and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty cool. I do know that like a lot of the motion, like they had the hands, the finger, the cross arms. I hope I'm not telling people that and now they're just going to keep watching the movie and that's going to be what they're thinking about it. There wasn't a lot of great animation during that portion of it. So you saw a lot of the same poses over and over again, which was kind of funny.
This was the first, like, I know it comes later, like 2 episodes later, like in the storyline, but this is the first time like they're doing this technology for a Star Wars, like TV series, right? Like it's, I mean, if you saw like Beast Wars and like Reboot, like those are the early iterations. This is like a much like later, but yeah, you can see how like it's kind of static but they're working through it. And by the last season 7, you're just like, this is amazing. Yeah. They just took time.
Well, and you can tell
most of us are an age, we all remember Masters of the Universe and the reused animations where, same fight scene, look at him roll.
Still running. Still running.
Well, and you can tell in this one, you can tell the progression. So, like you mentioned, the Beast Wars, that was one of the very, very earlier firsts where they wanted it to look more animated. They were actually trying to go for a computer animated blocky kind of style. This one you can see in the beginning how they want that computer animation, but they really tried to add more lifelike character to it. And you can see how in the beginning, like this animated feature versus the end or last season, season 7 of the Clone Wars, they really refined it. They really cleaned it up a lot. They really evolved the technology and as with anything and everything, as you use it more and more, you get better, and it gets more technically easy, and it becomes to you quicker. And it just, by the end of it, you guys are absolutely right. It just looks better, it plays better, it rolled better. But to be able to see that difference from beginning to end is huge.
I mean, before that, the other option that Tarkovsky one was you had like an Aja with a huge neck, and some of this, it was cool, but it was a little different. Remember, those were smaller clips, where this was the actual first time they were seeing, because of the success of that too, I think they were seeing like, could this actually work? And let's see what happens. And then it spawns off later on. So it is very significant to watch it. They also tried some other things. They tried, when they introduced Ahsoka Tano, to have like a banter between Luke and Ahsoka. And unfortunately, only one side of that worked. And at the time, it caused, and Mike Morello will talk about this all the time, it caused some people, including himself, to not grasp to Ahsoka in this movie till the first episode when it developed. And that was because they tried to give each other nicknames. She called him Sky Guy, which I know annoyed a lot of people. And I'm rewatching it, I was like, oh, I don't know why I didn't pick up on that so much the first time, why people got so annoyed by that. And I'm not saying like Mike obviously loves, he is like Ahsoka's biggest fan, loves the character and all, but I think if you ask him too, he'll tell you, yeah, that was the part that's kind of the part that annoyed me, was the Sky Guy thing, which I think I do find funny, because he called her Snips, which is also kind of like just a one-off. It was corny why he was calling her Snips, but it held on, which is very interesting. That's held on for all these years. At least I find it very interesting that that's occurred.
It was from
think about R2E.
Oh yeah, R2E.
It was from a line in this animated feature when he tells her that she's being snippy.
Well, he calls her Snips first, and then tells her because she's being snippy.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
He like verifies it. So like they do both of and the same thing with him. She goes, "Yeah, you're the Skywalker, so you're the Sky Guy."
Yeah.
Look, it's 100% equal. It's 100% equal how those nicknames came out. They were both written poorly to introduce them. For some reason, Snips stayed along, and for some reason, everybody hated her because she said Sky Guy to a guy who somehow looked angry at all moments. There was two faces of Anakin in that animation. If there's three poses, if there's this pose, and this pose, there's only two faces for Anakin. This pose and this pose. And that's it. I mean, that's what he's got. You know, he's always mad or he's yelling or whatever. Obviously,
they kind of went for a child effect on the nicknames, though, don't you think? Like, to try and appeal a little bit to children was the corny kind of. I mean, as adults and fans were a little more like, it's a little corny, but
as
kids
they
were
mowed
like,
down clone troopers throughout this movie.
right? But for kids, it was a little more like, oh, cliche, haha, cutesy dog, cutesy person, Nicky name, little.
I think they were trying to do it. I think. Maybe. I think they were more trying to do it where they were trying to make it where, they're almost like brother and sister having that type of relationship, and trying to add a little bit, because the movie had already come out, trying to add a little bit of humanity to Anakin Skywalker and make him a little bit more friendly-ish instead of what his face looked like, which was angry, which maybe if you would have just given him a smile every once in a while, you wouldn't have had to call him Sky Guy. But whatever, dude. I mean, that doesn't affect how we grade it anyways. Go ahead.
I liked the fact that Yoda and Obi were doing this on purpose, so Anakin could yes, be a teacher and teach someone else, but then also they knew that he needs to learn how to let go. And they're like, that's the whole point, is he needs to learn how to let go. Let's just give him a Padawan and like hope for the best.
I like, to this day still, I like this. I like everything about it, including how they marketed this character, Stinky or Rotu. Or Ratatouille or whatever. I mean, Jabba's son. Like, I really do like it. They did a lot of cool toys with it. They made a 6-inch that has her with the backpack on. They actually made a plush backpack with him in it, which is really cool too. So you can all look those up and try not to spend too much of your Christmas money on that.
Baby Yoda. There was Baby Jabba.
That was something Jen said. Yeah, it's very interesting, the storyline, because Jen had brought it. Was it Jen or Pete? Either one. Whichever one of you did it, hit it. And then my wife said the exact same thing. And that is, this is the story of Baby Yoda. It's Baby Yoda returning to his people. The same thing with Rotu returning him to Jabba, his people, which they say at one point he has to go back to his people. I mean, It's just a very interesting parallel that you saw that so many years earlier. And that's probably an Easter egg, I guess, that a lot of people missed on The Mandalorian. Considering they're both done by Dave, I assume that is not by accident. I assume that is something they did on purpose. I found the joke play and everything with Rotu, and the fact that they readjusted, because originally they were supposed to have the species, the Hutts were supposed to have like little small legs, and they just grew too fat originally, and like they would like fall off, well, just deform it. But like I found it very interesting that they would do a small little thing, even when he went underneath the little bench and wouldn't come back and everything like that. Yeah. I found the play with him. Did you guys find the play with him okay? Did you guys like Rotu or Rutu or what?
Is he still alive?
We'll get to, yeah. Do you want the answer for that too? Oh. We're going to just do it right off the bat.
That's one thing that came up later. I was like, because I was rewatching it, I'm like, I think he's still alive.
So they haven't, this is what I'll tell you. They haven't killed him yet. He's not dead yet. I mean, not on screen, not in the books, not anywhere. They haven't killed him yet. We'll see what they do.
Like real quick. So like Shannon Fisher, it was for kids.
Put it on so we can see it, Pete.
It was for kids, but it world built so much. Like, because when I was watching this, I remember back then and now being like, oh, there's more than one Hutt. Because like, I just thought there was just Jabba, and you find out that there's Zero, and that there's a whole entire like clan, and like that's kind of cool. And then like even like Christophsis, right? Finding out how the clones with the Jedi like battled, like a lot of clones died in this series. Like even in this first movie, like a lot died. I'm like, wow, he just like broke his hand trying to punch a droid, and then another guy. There's a lot of stealing going on, and you're like, then you see a whole cruiser go up, and you're like, oh.
It kind of introduces to a lot of characters too. With that being said, Shannon, I'm not quite sure, because if you remember, this was on Cartoon Network when they were showing it. Like not the rest of them were, and they showed it, I think, at like the 6 o'clock hour. They showed it before Adult Swim, if I remember correctly, because I think that's where we're like, wow. I think I remember when I was in that age group, it was fun to, do what you did at that age group and then chill out and veg out and watch Cartoon Network. So, I think it was that time. So I'm not quite sure. They're like, hey, after dinner, we're going to try to grab the kids down real quickly and get them into some Clone Wars. Because you're right, Jen, like he broke his hand, not Cody, but the guy was like that. By the way, Cody shows up the first time here. That's kind of cool that they did that. A lot of their stuff that they did in space to this day still holds up. To be honest with you, the movie, in my opinion, and we'll get into later, I think still holds up. But there's a lot of things they did that still hold up to this day in the movie, and introducing some of those characters really were. But I'm not quite sure how much it was towards kids. I think they were trying to do a thing where they were trying to get that, at the time, the 20-year-old to 30-year-olds that were watching Cartoon Network to try to tune into that, and maybe because it was nostalgic, because it was Star Wars, and Jar Jar Binks wasn't doing so well at the time. You know what I mean? Yeah, big kids. Yes, for big kids, Shannon. Yes, for big kids. But yeah, you get to see a cool Jabba. I do love the backstory on Jabba. Then we get to run into Uncle Zero, who, they've done a couple things with Uncle Zero. Do we have a picture of him? No, we do not.
I do. I got one in there.
Oh, you do? Ah, there he is. We will get into him, because we'll get into his whole lifespan, almost the canon version, because it does occur in Clone Wars later on. But I will say this, they did bring him into non-canon stuff for some of the kiddie stuff later on, like the Freemakers Adventure stuff. There's a little bit of Zero in there, and they keep bringing that character back, which is very interesting, just because he's an interesting character in himself. So the Separatists, their whole plan, it's set up, is that they are going to kill Jabba's son and blame it on the Jedis. More importantly, they're going to blame it on Luke Skywalker Anakin Skywalker and his new Padawan that he hasn't liked yet, because it's the first 15 minutes of the movie, and Ahsoka, and blame it on them. So you see them bickering back and forth for a little bit. Then I think when they start to get into it is kind of around here. Like, she's in the background. Man, they did such a good job on her. I mean, I do like her. And, I like Aja Ventress. So like, but how they've done her in the cartoons, it does her justice. Where the other one, she was funny. I just could never get over the long neck she had. I thought she looked like a giraffe. There. By the way, Ahsoka at this point only has one lightsaber too. I don't know if people caught that.
Yep.
But that's pretty cool. So she had the one. She actually went toe to toe with Ventress in this one, which is interesting because later on, which we'll get into, there's definitely a couple fights with her. But she held her ground for a little bit, and at that point, I think is when you start to see the change with Anakin, maybe, right? Because that had to be the change where he started to not be so.
Well,
you think
I think in this feature, they really do a good job of kind of showing how the level of expertise of each one of them is. Now we know that the first one to actually lay a scar on Anakin is Aja, and she's the one that gives him the cut at his eye. They don't show it in this feature, but it is her. So it tells you her level of how good she is as far as, you know, sabers and stuff, and to go toe and toe and kind of hold her own with Anakin for a while. But then you see that Ahsoka can hold her own for a very good period of time with her, which tells you right off the bat, Ahsoka at this age being able to hold her at bay for a while, she's pretty BA. Like there's something to be taken to reckon with there. And then you see Obi-Wan come in and just start decimating Aja and just, I mean, overpowering almost easily. And he's making snide, like quick remarks, like witty remarks at her through the whole battle, which is like, wow, he's just kind of toying with her. So I thought that the play in this shows their talent levels pretty good and really did a pretty good job of displaying.
I was going to go a little bit different on that. Like, it was interesting how she held herself against Ventress for so long, and then later on she had problems with Magna Troopers. Like
3 of them, and she had the baby.
I understand. I understand. But the same thing, like when you saw Anakin with Dooku later too, like he had problems with Ventress, but then later on with Dooku, he pretty much just manhandled Dooku, who was. If you know the history of Dooku, he's one of the best like duos.
He also kind of dark side a little bit. You don't think so?
Hmm?
So the one thing that, like, I don't know if I've recently been really into like the hearing when Anakin, they're going to Tatooine, and she's like, "Are you going home?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going home." And then like you can hear the sand person, like and I'm like, oh, they just totally. And then even when he was there, he was very like, and then even like Dooku had that moment where he's like, "In this," and then. Like,
oh no, he says, "You're from here, aren't you?" He does
from
say
here,
that.
But then says like he's sensing through, like he's able to sense Anakin, and at one point he has this like aha moment, and then Anakin gets really upset. So I was like, oh, so Anakin, I felt like when he was on Tatooine and doing this Dooku, like that's him like kind of fighting a little bit the dark side a little bit.
Right, but once again, through the whole movie, he may have been happy like 1 second, and it was when he defeated when like a 1,000 clones died, but they beat all the droids somehow.
Dude, he was happy when he saw Padme on that little.
Oh, that is true. Yes, at the end, yes, that is true. He was happy when that happened. That is, yes, that might be the only thing that was happy. Also, I thought so. There's some things that are a little bit off. Once again, the fightings were. This is what you're talking about, where he was fighting under the 2 moons. I thought that was really cool, and actually, the throwback to when he says like, "This is where you're from," definitely cool. They definitely. I will agree with you on this. So the action lightsaber scenes were great.
Yeah, they did a great job in the battle scenes for sure. Saber scenes in this are you're absolutely right, Marco. They're amazing.
Yeah, they did that. That was really good. The space scenes where they were fighting out there was good. Even when you had Ahsoka sitting on top of that, the crawler while she was going up the wall, and you saw a tip and like how they had done everything. Especially now, it's like easy to forget how hard it was to do that type. Yes, right there. There you go. It was. What did anybody else? The purpling background. That's very interesting too. Like, did anybody else see that? There was like a purple hue. Yes,
like
to
everything. Whole area.
Yeah, to the whole area. They kept it. They didn't start it off that way. Then purple hues started taking over. It was kind of interesting.
Weren't they another planet though? They weren't on Christophsis. They went to another planet to where the hut was being held.
Yeah, but I understand that. But even on that planet, it would shade in and out for purple. Like the purple would change different colors, which I don't know. Maybe it was a Ventress like lineup or something like that. I don't know. It was cool. It worked well. I actually not criticizing the coloring. I thought it was kind of cool to see the different shades, even if it meant the day was going on, or like you said, it was a different atmosphere. I thought it was cool that it wasn't always the same thing anymore.
Yeah.
And it added a little bit of flavor because they had done well enough where like the helmets kind of shade off. And then when you see Ventress, who for some reason I associate her, and maybe it's because of this movie, with the color purple. Like for some reason.
Goldberg movie?
Huh?
The Whoopi Goldberg movie?
No.
No.
What are you talking about?
No, the Prince movie. Duh.
Oh, the color purple, the movie. No.
Yeah.
Didn't Jimi Hendrix write a song about this?
I only get dad jokes when Solo Wookiee tells him, Pete, not when you tell him. But yeah, so I mean, maybe that's why I always think of her as purple. But I also think in her Black Series figure, she's got a purple line with her too. I don't know. It's probably not true. It probably is because of this movie. I mean, that's probably like the Modelo effect or something. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, I thought that was all kind of cool. Also, kind of weird though. They did let some stuff go, like the absorption of. Apparently, that's how Mace Windu could have saved himself. All he had to do was put up his lightsaber, and it could have absorbed all the giggly lightning effect on that. Because that's apparently how you take care of that. That was a little bit weird, but
That's not the only time that's happened.
Yeah, they do that in a couple different movies, except for the actual.
Well, no, it's actually
live action movie. Yoda is the only one that catches it.
Yeah, it looks in this animated movie. That's why I was referring. It looks more like he caught it, like the lightsaber kind of almost caught it. Where you see them fight the Force back when he hits it and kind of defends himself. In this, but then again, like I mean, once again, this is their poses. So like, I mean,
yeah.
What are you
Didn't Obi-Wan do it in the movie?
He did, but he was a.
Maybe
it
he
was
taught
like,
it to
it was like
Anakin in the interim.
yeah, it was like this, like where on this, I mean, it's like. Hey, I'm just gonna hold. I mean, that's the face he had. That was one of his two faces through the whole movie.
Remember, he's angry. He's already ready. He's being on this planet. He don't want to be there. He's like,
he didn't want to be anywhere. The only time Jen was right. The only time he was happy was when he saw a hologram. Where he was like, "Thank you, Senator, for saving me. I'll see you later." Hey, yeah, that was it, dude.
If he had bolts in his necks, he'd be what? Frankie, Frank and Annie, Frank Annie. He looks like Frankenstein in that last.
Chatting, he mellowed out here. Look, he's not.
Yeah, that was the turnaround. But I mean, does that look like somebody who's happy? That's not exactly.
He's
happy.
not unhappy.
That's RBF, dude. I mean, like the guy. It is what it is. Either way, what I'm saying is that he doesn't have a good face, and he absorbed it there. I mean, look, these are small criticisms because you can't really criticize the movie, right? Like,
I can criticize this movie all day long. I'm holding back, buddy. I have criticized.
Of course, you do.
On this all day.
The Rex thing was really good. Like I said, they showed Cody off early.
Well,
the Rex play.
That quote he said to her about, because she's like, "Oh, I'm technically a Jedi, so I'm above you," and he's like, I consider experience more.
Yeah.
And then he's just, okay, I better get some experience.
Let's get some experience.
That was kind of funny. She also did at one point to the protocol droid that Aja had taken over, had said like, "Yeah, I'm a Jedi Knight," and everybody was just like, no.
She's like, "Well, I'm gonna be."
That was kind of fun. Like I said, I mean, it worked out really well, right? Like, what did you want if you go back in time? Do remember 1, 2, and 3 was happening at that time, and George Lucas had just made sure that Han didn't shoot first.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just let's it's 2008. Let's rewind what had happened there and where this was in time places. So, for whatever small things, like that was funny. Like that is kind of the humor you should get in some of this stuff. I thought. Then we got Cody out here. Like I said, the space fights were great, showing all the ships. I was really thinking about it too because remember. Interesting enough, they were using the hyper rings. Remember the hyper rings?
Oh yeah.
Like, I was just thinking about that because we were talking about hyperspace the other day and how the port engines and stuff like that were working, and they were using rings. So it was kind of cool to see the hyper rings again, which was fun. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed this. I think we do have one more video clip. What's the video? I'm going to talk over this just in case, but this is what Solo was kind of talking about earlier. I'm hoping we're not going to get in.
No, you're fine. I picked that because I like the samurai style, like her dragging her lightsabers as she, rushed him. Like Love that aspect.
She does several samurai techniques in that sequence throughout that battle that really make for just good visual play. You know, when she takes her skirt off and throws it at him and then comes at him is another old technique like that. And when she, like you were saying, when she's dragging him, it's the first time that you see her actually connect her lightsabers end to end and use them cool. As a double-bladed one piece. Love Aja.
I will tell you this: both Dooku and Aja, they hit him square on. Like, you can say whatever you want about the rest of it. Those two characters, it was great, man. It really was. I really enjoyed that.
And like, I don't like villains usually, right? Because I'm like, oh, I hate them. But like, you know, you can like hating them, but I'm like, But Ventress, like, this is a good, like, this is my intro to her. And then from this through like all of Clone Wars and then like Dark Disciples, I was just like, her character arc is so cool. And when you find out more about her like backstory, you're like, this chick is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she really did make you think. Like, there's the revenge thing they talked about and everything else, and there's bad guys who kind of are like, you're a bad guy, you should go to jail, but I respect you. And I think that's kind of what you saw of her, especially out of her fighting style and everything like that. That's why I was saying I was kind of disappointed with the beginning when they had the back and forth with her and Ahsoka with one blade. I thought, I mean, it did end pretty quickly, but I think, and by the way, all that happened was Anakin whipped her with the tail of some flying thing, which didn't make sense why he didn't pick her up before that anyways, but we're not going to get into the small details because we'll just get stuck down rabbit holes and minutia. Anyways, but, you know, in the end, then she goes and she fights the 3 droids, which also, there's a couple things that didn't make sense there. First off, how did she not put out the Force cry to Anakin and he passed her to go to the Jedi's hut? But I know you need that for story building. I guess you needed it for that. Number 2, if she could so easily destroy those 3 Magnas.
But it's 3 and she has Stinky to worry about. So it's like your fighting style is like, and she only has 1 blade. If she had her 2, which I guess she gets later, like, but then I think she would have been fine. But 1 against 3 and then that little baby, like that can't be easy.
Yeah, I would just think it would be easier if you did it on even ground instead of uneven ground with rocks falling on you, and then you somehow. But whatever. I mean, I still liked it. It was very dramatic, very nice. I did like the cutting the stones open in the backpack where Dooku cut open the backpack because that's how he was going to beat Anakin, and it turned out it was just stones. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Why would you put so many rocks in your bag? That's got to be heavy.
Have to make it believable.
The cartoon.
He hurt himself, like wearing ankle weights while going jogging or something.
Exactly. I was just going to say, he's just pumping himself up. He's like, look at how I can go toe to toe with you, and I got rocks in my pack. Imagine what's going to happen when they're gone.
What's the gravity force? What's the gravity force pull on Tatooine? Because it does have 2 suns and 2 moons.
That's true.
So maybe rocks are lighter. Should we not? Well, we probably shouldn't add science into it because then we could be another. We could be talking about another show where they just go beam me up all the time. But the bottom line is this: it was rocks. I still thought it was pretty cool. We don't know the gravitation.
It was a cool visual.
It was cool. You see him smirking. No, he can smirk because he smirks right then. He does smirk at Dooku at that point. Yeah. Then they get back into the palace. The Jabba scenes are cool. Like Jabba's like, I'm just going to kill everybody anyways. He's always about killing everybody. And then he finds out that his uncle backstabbed him, and it was Dooku and his uncle. So then he's going to kill his uncle, supposedly, who does not die in that episode, and Dooku, who also doesn't die, obviously, in that episode. And then we see the hologram of Padawan, and then we get the 3rd smile out of Anakin because he's like, "Hey, honey, I'll see you at home later."
Did a Joey Tribbiani? What's up? How you doing?
He did. And that was the end of it. I still don't understand. I think they probably would have killed him anyways, but whatever. It was kind of cool to see Jabba. I'm always happy to see Jabba's palace. So like, it was kind of cool to see Jabba's palace and what was going on with that. With that being said, Jabba's son, as far as we know, is still alive, and they can definitely use him later on. We don't know exactly where he is. We do know that the Hutts have a tendency to spread out at a certain point so they don't eat each other or kill each other, which they have a tendency to kill each other a lot. So he may be still around. I think it would be cool if they brought him back into the canon at a future.
Who's Jabba's mom? or who's little Rhoda's, is it Rhoda or whatever his name is? The little dude.
Stinky.
Whoever Stinky's mom is.
I mean, is that what we're going to do? We're going to talk about how Hutts
He just
procreate.
He just formed from metachloriates.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought his uncle was the kid's mom at first. Like I thought that's who we're being introduced to with all the purple lights. I'm like, all right. I was like, oh, it's not. It's his uncle. Okay.
So I don't want to say something wrong. So I'm not gonna, like they don't have legs or anything anymore. So I'm not gonna get into that portion of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that was the whole point of him having a son. I don't think people were. I mean, people probably were, because in the old way, there's a way to do it. But with that being said, I think it's kind of like almost just
slug life.
Yeah, who cares? That's what I think it is. Who cares?
I know it's ultimately.
So with that being said, I mean, like, what other great? Well, before we get to Solo Wookiee and Downer, everybody, I'm going to start.
I have one quick question.
Okay, go
that
ahead.
Maybe you can help. I think you can help clarify.
Yeah.
Now, when they're showing the uncle, isn't that kind of a glimpse at 1313? And I thought Gordola was the one that ran 1313. I must be wrong.
So Zero. So Zero the Hutt is like the redheaded stepchild of the Hutt family, the uncle. Now, yes, you are correct on who ran it. Different Hutt, also related to Jabba. Not that one. This is the mess up. This is the one that doesn't do anything right, and they're just trying to kill him all the time. And I don't want to give away what happens to him or why, because we do see Gordola 2 later on. Because there's a extremely cool episode that really gets into the Hutts later on.
I still gotta watch a ton of these. I still have not seen a lot of these Clone Wars that were
that episode in itself, I'm not gonna let the heathens watch that one, but I thoroughly enjoy that episode. But yeah, so they have a tendency to go milly around in different places, and obviously the Hutts, especially like one like this, it'd be like the rich kid that never got a job. That's kind of how you see Zero. He just goes around and causes more problems than he actually does anything a positive.
I hadn't totally got deep into the thought of it before until watching it earlier today. And it kind of dawned on me that they almost portrayed a little bit of the 1313 aspect. And I was like, now, wait a minute. But okay.
Because you got to remember, so you got to remember at this time too, the Hutts, although they are in the they completely control the outer rim with their pirates, right? They're not letting it go. Mm-hmm. I did put that. Yeah. Shannon Fisher would not like us to put the image of how Hutts are born in his head, which is great. But so they're already in Coruscant. They already do have a hold in portions, and so do a lot of other people. You have to remember there's a lot of levels there too. So there's a lot of different type of gangs and everything else out there. That this doesn't take away from that. This is just like he just can use the Hutt properties because they're old and they're old gangsters. I mean, are we going to break down the whole Gambino family or whatever and try to explain where everything goes?
So he's Fredo, basically.
Yes, he is the Fredo of the family. That is very good analogy right there. Thank you very much.
I was just trying to make sure my old brain bucket was still on the right track.
You got it right. You're good. You're absolutely good. Yeah, so that is what it is. What else do we have? Do we have any more questions, or should we get into other people talking besides me about what the parts they like or dislike Solo Wookiee? Go ahead, Solo. So what else? So what did you think of it, Solo? We're going to do, since it's Clone Wars, I think we should do 5 clone helmets. I think we can all agree on that. Yes, 5 clone helmets. Is that a good break?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do 5 clone helmets. We don't have to get into your clone helmets yet, Solo. But start us all off. We've already talked about Hutt love, so ruin the rest of our evenings with what's going to come up next. Give us the review.
Every time I watch it, I like it less, and there's parts of this show that I really, really like. I really love how they did Aja and her battle tactics and how she maneuvers, and the lightsaber battles in this are key and great. I do like the way they character build on Ahsoka, being such a main introduction for her and such a good one. I thought they did a really good job on that. I really like how they play. This is really the first good introduction to Obi-Wan's true wisdom. The way they write Obi-Wan's true wisdom in this really, really plays well. And I like the way they do that. With that said, if you're the Empire and you want the Jabba's territory, you just move in, you kill the Hutt family.
It's separatist, it's not the Emperor.
The separatist. You're correct. Separatist, not the Empire. You just move in, you take it. Like, you have battle droids. You have, like, the Hutts can't compete with that. You move in and tactically you just wipe them out and take it. You're not going to try and deceive and it just is convoluted the way that they try and continue to manipulate like this.
Okay, so I know this is your review, and I hate cutting off when people say stuff like that. But maybe I need to reiterate how powerful at this point the Hutts are. Okay, so you have two huge forces, mainly separated around banks and colonization, and the Hutts at this point are the black market portion of the banks. They also run all the underworld, and because you have to use hyper rings to travel through hyperspace, they can easily short out your travel, and you can't go anywhere. So if you try to play with them, you saw what Jabba's response was. You die. Like, he doesn't really even care. The only reason. Well, go ahead. Finish your now.
I don't know. Palpatine versus the Hutts. I'm putting my money on Palpatine to come out ahead on that one. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Hutts are powerful. They have a lot of reach and a lot of people. But
Palps thought that they were going to fail, and he's like, either way this goes, I'm hoping that they're going to fail and that the Jedi are going to like a big slight on them, right? Like, he's kind of like, it's probably going to happen. They're going to fail, right? And then, but if it doesn't, well, okay, because he's playing the long game. But even like Maul, like, I think he also has understanding of like, because even when he had Maul like control. Oh, I don't go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, I'm wearing the Darth Maul shirt. You better be talking about Maul. Let's go.
So the underworld has always been like, he can't really control them. So he always has someone else control them, but they could be like a deciding factor in how things play out, which is why, like, when he when he told Maul, hey, I have plans for you. This is later in the series. Like, it's to keep that kind of stuff so it doesn't mess up his plans. But in the very beginning of this movie, they talk about how Count Dooku and Separatists do have a lot of hyperspace lanes blocked. So they do need Jabba's routes to get about. So like, they're doing what you're saying. Like, they're kind of being strategic about it. So
also too, I think the Emperor at this point was, because we know what happens later on and Jabba's still there, right? So like, we know that. I think the Emperor's testing how powerful, because you got to think he's a mastermind, so he's testing how powerful the Hutts actually are at this point. And he's seeing if they can destroy, because I mean, they do form the committee, right? Like, you're not going to be able to get them on Rico. That's not how it works in Star Wars. You can't get anybody on a Rico charge. So like, he's trying to see how you can go through that and take care of it. They have some of the deadliest bounty hunters in the game. All the free agents are signing with the Hutts, and he needs to figure out how to take care of that. And he's kind of testing them to see if, hey, can I just not waste resources on them, or are they going to stop the Galactic Empire and the Sith Empire from taking over? I think that's really when you look at it. And I thought it was brilliantly done to show you a little bit of insight in that. Once again, I know, and Solo's probably saying this like we're supposed to be talking about the movie and not what we know occurs down the road. But that is truly, I mean, look, like Jen said, it's 2008, guys. Like, what do you want me to do? If you haven't seen it, I can't. I just can't. I can't. I watch it every year. I just can't. I can't. So I did see something interesting that Shannon Fisher said real quickly. He said he probably has to agree with him. I don't know who him is. When he first saw it, he was excited, but after they moved the movie into the show, I feel the movie lost it. maybe. That's why I was debating. I was debating watching it in the watching order, because when you watch it in the watching order, it makes, I think, the first 2 episodes add on. So take that in mind next week. However, then that comes down rabbit holes, and you know how much Solo Wookiee. Do we have the rabbit? You got the new move. Do we have the rabbit or no? I like rabbit holes, but then all of a sudden you're going to have to watch all the movies, and then we're going to have to watch movies in certain orders, and then we're going to have a whole watching order thing, and we're trying to bridge the gap now before Bad Batch comes on, so we're not trying to get into that deep.
I do think this might have to go green here soon.
Yeah.
Easter egg.
Yes. So excellent. So that's
and I did want to hear and kind of ask that question to you guys and how you felt about that the way they played that and wrote it.
I liked it.
In the end, I understand that they're not quite the full Empire yet. They still have to tangle with the Jedi, and the Jedi could have got involved, so they can't totally just go in and wipe them out. And I understand Palpatine really trying to test everybody in that situation, and he's doing more manipulation than he is just over the top, taking over and just revealing himself. But there was some flaws in that. And again, I'm with Marco. I mean, yes, this was 2008, and it was watching this then, a lot of those thoughts occurred to me, like, dude, just go in and wipe them out. Come on, dude, you're palps. Like, just go in and, just saber them right in the gut and walk away. Dude, you're done.
Yeah, but that's thinking that he really I don't even know if he really cared one way or the other. Like, right now, he's just kind of playing. It's like he's playing cards, but he can see everybody's hands. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't really matter who wins.
Yeah, we can see a lot of those.
I'm going to rob the whole table before the day is done. It doesn't matter who wins each hand, as we know.
And we can see that now. Just like Marco was saying, it's 2021 now. We've got all this extra line afterwards. We know how it ends up. We know how it all unfolds. We see all of his little manipulation plans. So again, the first time I watched it, real super exciting. That's part of the explanation of all that. And now it's like it's good, but it's lost almost a little bit of meaning in there.
But this is the problem. For me. Yes, I understand. But what Pete said is, like, we do know, like, Palps is going to rob the table. Like, the poker game's over. It doesn't matter if you win the hand. He's winning the pot. He's winning every pot. And we knew that because Empire was already out, and they already had remade the Empire. So we did know that going into this. And I understand what you're saying, but, like, they also had to make it an hour and 30 minutes. Come on.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. For me, I'd give it... Boy, I'm torn between like a 3.5 and a 4.
Really? I was surprised you're going to give it that high.
Yeah, I thought we were talking to 2s.
No. I mean, it's got really good, solid content, especially if you're coming into the whole Clone Wars saga, the whole explanation, it's a really, really good place to start to get into the Clone Wars. It's a great start. So I think I got to... I hate to go. I'll give it a 4. I'm really torn between 3.5 and a 4, but I'm going to give it a 4.
All right. He can give it whatever he wants. He can give it a 4. By the way, just putting it out there, we do have an episode coming up this week on Wednesday with a member of the chat right now. Honestly, a favorite of mine too. It means a lot. He was the first guy who reached out to me when I started doing these shows and said, hey man, your shows don't suck, bro. Like, they're actually pretty decent. It's Jedi Johnson, and a little clue, because that guy put this out here. I'm not saying we're going to talk about that, but maybe if you want a green rabbit, we might talk about that with Jedi real quickly. Jedi Johnson's a very interesting guy. A good man. He's done some great service for our country too. So make sure you catch that on Wednesday. We have a very interesting thumbnail coming out for that. With that being said, if you want to get on the reviews, you know what shows we're going to see next. If you can watch them, you want to come on real quickly, make sure you hit us up. Pete, do we have the little Instagram thing or something we can let these people know what they should do?
Yeah. Which one do you want?
Anyone that will tell them how to get a hold of me. There you go. So what you got to do is you got to go down there and hit the thumb, give us a thumbs up, make a little comment like, hey, Marco, maybe you should check your Instagram more often because I'm bad at it. Yep, go down there, write that in the comment section, and then tell us, hey, what episodes do you want to review? There is the full list of episodes at StarWars.com in the actual order if you want them. We will also be posting bricks, probably 20 a piece. We will be breaking down the episodes, probably about 3 to 4 a piece that we're going to watch and review. So if you want to get involved, you want to come on, you think that Solo is 100% right and I'm a moron, hey, Star Wars is for everybody. Feel free to come on here. If you just want to talk about it, you need something to do, whatever, as long as you got a camera and a mic that works, we'd be more than happy to have you on here. So make sure you go down there. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, give us a little comment, tell your friends, tell your family, make somebody that you love watch it because they love you, so they'll watch my stuff. All right, next up, we've got Pete. Speaking of people I love. Pete, what did you think of it?
Well, again, yesterday was the first time I had seen this. I have not watched most of the show or the movie. It just, I don't know, it came at a time where I just didn't have the time. I just wasn't paying attention. So yesterday was the first time I watched it. I see a lot of what Solo was saying, but ultimately, I know I can sometimes be an apologist for things. I can rationalize. I can look at it saying, hey, look, this is the first thing they did. They were trying to figure out their rhythm. They're trying to figure out their balance. Is this for kids? Is this not for kids? We're going to have silly jokes like Sky Guy and Snips, but we're also going to mow down a whole bunch of clone troopers like they ain't nothing. Like when they showed up on that rush on that purple place, like that was like D-Day. Like they were in the ship riding in, they landed, they came running out, and they were, telling Ahsoka this ain't no joke, and it wasn't. Even though I know he survived, there was a part of me that thought Rex was gonna die when they left. Like when they decided, oh, we got to take care of the Hutt kid. I was like, that's it for Rex. Like, but I'm like, wait a second, he doesn't die. But in the episode or what in the movie, I'm thinking, oh man, poor Rex.
Even Ventress, right?
Yeah, exactly. With Ventress there, and Asajj, she was great. I know a little bit of what happens eventually. Once we get there, even though I haven't watched everything, but I am still intrigued by her as a character, and I would like to see absolutely more of her. But I don't know how that's possible, depending on what they might pick to do in some of these upcoming things. So I would like to see her live action, but we'll see. The action in this was great. Like from the lightsaber battles and I brought up that clip that I like the drag of the samurai sword, but all the lightsaber stuff was great. Even the spaceship battles also, and that whole rush up the mountain where they're climbing and the droids are shooting down. Like the action was great, but ultimately the story wasn't the best. I mean, it really was just almost like an episode extended out 3 times as long as it could be. Like it was very basic setup. Like, we got to bring the kid back to Jabba. Like that was really the whole storyline, was who's going to get the kid back to Jabba. Like that's it. And they kind of stretched it for 90 minutes. But so for that, even though Solo gave all of this, everybody's worried about him being bad. Like I'm going 4 as well, even though I did enjoy it, only because it did just have kind of a stretched plot. Like the plot wasn't the deepest that it could be. And again, even with the apologies and knowing of what they were trying to do, I'm still just going 4 because I did enjoy it, but you're not getting a lot out of this story yet. You get an introductions, and that's 4. I got to give myself some room to grow. And
you got it. I like that you haven't watched a lot of this. That adds a lot to it. I do have to say this, and JJ put this out here, and now I'm going to have to start creating rules on how we're going to rank this, if we're ranking it like we originally remember it.
And I'm making a graphic. For next week, I'm making a graphic so I can throw up helmets for us. So we
how we're going to, yeah, but just like all the type of stuff, because like JJ said, like he was a little let down because of the original like clips. So there was those original clips. We'll actually, when we review that, JJ, we're not reviewing that. This is what we're doing. I'm making it right here. So it's taped. It's on. We got it. JJ, when you can make it on this show, okay, that's when we'll review it, and that's when we'll talk about that one. Because there's a lot
JJ, we got to do this, man. We
got a lot to talk about that. And by the way, it was surprising because when everybody, not everybody, but like somebody, wait, I'm bad with the figures, brought up like, hey, I got that. It can't be expensive. You can order it on Amazon. And I informed him on how expensive it is on Amazon to get those original 2 volumes. He's like, are you kidding me? I was like, no, dude, it's like definitely a thing. I'm not going to tell you what I even think about that. I'm done talking about it. JJ, when you come on, we'll talk about that version of Clone Wars. With that being said, go Wings. We got 4 out of Pat, or we got 4 out of Pete. We have got, did the pack win? I don't know. We've also got Jen down there. No, Jen, give us your ranking, please. I know what your ranking might be.
Do you?
No, I guess I don't. All right, tell me I'm wrong.
Like, okay, I really enjoyed this watching it again, right? Because I'm like, I watched it before. I've watched it like every couple of years. I always rewatch it just to kind of like it's a refresher, right? Like I just want to see when Ahsoka came in, and
this is why you're my sister, because we do the exact same thing all the time. We are twins. It's crazy.
So it was fun. I love also how in the beginning they kept saying how young she was and calling her like a youngling, and so that was her also trying to like, she knows that she's young, so she was trying to like prove to them like why she was worthy. Like Yoda already thinks that she is, or he wouldn't have put her out there. And then, but this is the very beginning.
Hold on, do you think that Yoda knew that, or do you think Yoda just he just likes to play around, right? Like Yoda, especially through the series, definitely likes to like.
He wouldn't have thrown her out there if he didn't think she could like be okay.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done that. I also think he picked her specifically for Anakin because
they're so alike.
Don't listen. Like, you see what it's like to deal with you.
Well, and that's the thing that people like. So there's like an old saying about the thing that annoys you about other people is probably what they like is like your own like thing that is annoying. So it was supposed to really help him grow and learn as like a Jedi. So I just love all that like little stuff, and even like them going through and her being almost cocky or trying to prove that she was great, and then kind of failing a little bit, and then her like learning from him, like when they're on the Christophsis, like, and like she's like, why are we hiding? And he's like, well, we have to get through, and like having to explain things to her. Mm-hmm. Again, she's so the fight scenes, yes, awesome. Love like the little, and then even like that first 13 seconds of the movie, like again hearing the soundbite just made me think like the Bad Batch, and I'm like, oh, it's funny, haha, like how this is playing, because this is the first iteration that we're seeing, and we're gonna see another clone like thing. So yeah, the building of the world, seeing more creatures, learning more about the Hutts, the hyperspace lanes, and like even Dooku having that like droid record, knowing they would get something out of it, because you know, of course, Anakin, who has a history because he comes from that planet, is going to say something, right? And like Dooku is known for like having those freaking recordings and like tweaking it a little bit, so people like are like, hey, wait, what the heck is that? And then so with all that, I still like, because I've seen all the seasons and I know that a couple of them I'm going to be like, it's a 6, it's a 7 on a 5 scale. Because of that and knowing where it's going to go, I have to say a 4.5 right now, just because I know.
No, you can't give 2 grades. You have to give 1 grade. We'll let you break the grading system. Well, we'll let the chat decide. We heard what you said. I'm saying denial. We will take a chat opinion if she could give 2 grades to one episode.
A 4 then, like, because I know that there's episodes coming up that are going to be like a 6, and you're going to be like, you can't do that, and I'm like, but it's so great, like, but I'm really again like Pete, and like I'm really happy with it. I know what's going to come, and I'm like, oh, just because of that. I think if we went just like young me, I'd probably say a 5, but like me knowing what's going to happen, I'm like, okay, 4.
Yeah. Okay, 4 it is. Wow, this is a interesting helmet situation. We have 4 helmets across the board. Okay, so here's the thing. I just gave her a hard time about 2 grades, and I kind of want to give this 2 grades because and this is why, because some of the characters that showed up in this didn't turn out to be my favorite characters till later on. And I'm not talking about Ahsoka. I actually have been a Ahsoka defender since the beginning. I actually don't see the star guy as her problem. I see that as a writing problem. And I thoroughly enjoyed a lot of stuff she did.
Oh, Sky Guy.
Yeah, I actually thought that it was kind of cool how they gave her, because some of the stuff in some of the lines she uses is definitely stuff that Anakin used to Obi-Wan. It was so funny that they had just redone the exact same character over and over again, like kind of what Jen said, like the mirror image of yourself proves. And I think you're right. I think Yoda did that on purpose to teach him a lesson, and kind of Yoda has a sick sense of humor where he's like, this isn't going to kill somebody, so I'm just going to give you the pain in the butt that you were to us. Because she definitely displays that atmosphere going through. You see it with Rex, where she tells Rex, like, oh, yeah, whatever. And when she claims to be a Jedi master or knight, when she's not really a Jedi knight, which is pretty interesting, too. So I really enjoyed it. But the characters that really, when I watched it through this time, and I guess as the years have gone by, I've kind of been more attracted to are Ventress and Dooku and how they portrayed them here. And those characters, I'm just like, man, it's so right on. Like, sure, they got Ahsoka right. And Anakin, I know, here we go. Because the chat's gonna get me on this one. Anakin's not my favorite, man. Big surprise.
You just don't like Skywalkers.
I like Darth Vader. I love Darth Vader. I like Darth Vader. I mean, there's a bunch of Christians that dress up like Darth Vader. I like Darth Vader. But Anakin was an over-exaggeration of anger at all points. And like, okay, I get it. It just, it's tough. We can get into that someday, I guess. But not exactly the character that I was always attached to. I was attached more to Ahsoka when I first started watching this. That's what I'm saying. When I first started watching this, the Ahsoka character, the Rex, Obi-Wan, definitely Obi-Wan, I was really happy with when I saw it the first time. I like that they introduced a new Padawan at the time, which was super cool at that time. So obviously I see the chat moving and I'm not going to look over and read it, but I was very intrigued by a lot of that stuff, right? Like, so that's what I really liked in it. Now, as the years go on and I watch it every year, like I do with Clone Wars, and now this time apparently watch it 3 times in 1 year, even though it's still January, I really liked what they did with Ventress and Dooku. I mean, come on, man. It was good. The one part I did have a problem with was that Anakin beat Dooku. And you can say what you want about Anakin Skywalker, but as a duelist, he's not the best.
He didn't really beat him. He left.
Oh, yeah, he did. No. He beat Dooku. Dooku was down on the ground in the surrendering position. Anakin had, I'm going to finish you off face. And Dooku said, hey, your Padawan's about to be killed by Jabba. And then Anakin jumped on the bike, went back and saved the Padawan because he could feel that there was the attachment between the two, which is what Jen was saying, that actually Dooku could feel the emotional attachment. She thought it was anger. I kind of saw it more as Dooku found out that the attachment was between Ahsoka Tano and Anakin, and then he knew that he could use her if he lost the battle. Therefore, he was going to sacrifice winning the duel with slicing the backpack. Whatever. That's a little too deep and a little bit technical, and maybe I just saw it through the eyes of somebody who finds the character of Count Dooku very intriguing, but is what
you're also you're anti-Anakin as well.
I'm not anti-Anakin.
Just before we move on, just going from the standpoint of where we're at now with Anakin. I know he's angry. Oh, he's just a typical angry guy. But for this particular just moment, you have him being given a Padawan, which he didn't want. He didn't want one at all. So he's unhappy there. He's saddled with somebody he doesn't want to be with him the whole time. And then he gets sent back to his home planet, which we all know why he has issues there. So in this instance, he has all the right to be angry. Like, I understand angry Anakin. Just in this movie, this 90-minute window. That's all I'm saying.
You got to let those feelings go. That shit will turn you to the dark side. Like anger to hate to, boom, dark side.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, listen, and listen, I do love all the hate, and I love let you guys all hate me in the chat. Bring it in here. Turn to the dark side. You're doing a good thing. I get it. I definitely get it. I understand what you're saying here. What I'm just saying is that Anakin Skywalker, once again, wasn't one of my favorite characters then, and to this day still isn't one of my favorite characters. Darth Vader, on the other hand, thoroughly enjoy Darth Vader. Ahsoka was, and now even when I go back and watch it, I'm still like, okay, I get it. Like angry face. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, Padawan. How you doing? Yeah. But I mean, like, there's not a lot of depth to that character, right? Like even as a kid, there wasn't. It was, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's the bias of that. like I know people dislike Jar Jar through the first 3. I shouldn't hold that against it because we're just reviewing Clone Wars, the movie. But like that wasn't who I thought was ridiculous. Who I thought ridiculous was Anakin. I thought it was. And I can't even to this day shake that. I just don't like it. Anyways, so yes, he was crying. He was crying that he got a Padawan. That is a Skywalker male trait. You must cry and whine throughout everything you do. With that being said,
impossible.
What's that?
You asked the impossible.
With that being said, Obi-Wan, so cool. They made him so dope throughout Clone Wars too. But in this episode, he was really great. Or in this movie, he was really great. You know, I do like like I said, the Princess Bride type situation where they got it. I smirk every time I watch that, and I know what's going to happen, and I still smirk every time they do it. I'm not reading comments no matter how many you put up on the screen.
I'm just putting this one up because it's what you're saying.
Hey, Michael Palmer's right. Welcome to the dark side, brother. Anakin, Luke, Ben Solo, Skywalker. Absolutely. The
they are Skywalkers.
Okay.
Right along with Aragon.
But continue your point.
With that being said, even if like the little things that usually get me into my, oh my gosh, how can't you fix that? Like 4 poses for a show or choppy storyline type things. The ensemble cast of characters that they had in this for an hour and a half made it seem like 45 minutes, and it still does to this day. And I easily have watched this 30 times. I don't watch anything 30 times, okay? I don't forget it. Like, it's not something I do a lot, and I still enjoy it. I just watched it and then watched it. I've watched it through, I said 2 times. It's really been actually 3 times over the last 2 days because my kids watched it, and then we only let them get so much screen time, so I had to kick them out, finished watching it, then watched it again. So I watched it twice today. I still enjoyed it both times I watched it today. With that being said, in a movie, hour and a half, I still remember being upset about Han shooting first while I was watching this originally, and then they gave us Jabba. I got to give it 4.5. I don't think for something that's so hard to do back then and to this day to still hold up, which in my opinion, this still holds up to this day. It held up to today. And yes, I'm biased. And yes, I like it. And yes, I'm a Star Wars fan. I don't care. I'm giving it a 4.5. I really did enjoy it. It would have been better with less Anakin. But besides that, it was a great movie, almost to perfection. I don't think you can ask for much more.
And if you want to watch it, Disney Plus.
Yes, you can watch on Disney Plus. You absolutely can watch on Disney Plus. Now, Pete, throw up all the comments that you think is the best, and we will have somebody read it out, and then I will respond to how they think I am a Dark Sith Lord in hiding. By the way, speaking of this, while we're looking at comments and everything like that and going over it, if you aren't going to your local Wally World, which I didn't go this at Wally World because I don't go to Wally World, but Wally World is doing their resets, which means Target's going to be doing their resets too. If you go into a Wally World and they don't have a lot of stuff on their shelves, they either got wiped out with all the new stuff or they're about to do a reset. You will have 24 to 48 hours to find stuff such as, thank you. I'm not going to say who got it for me. We got a couple of these. The Thrawn archive. Yeah, nice. Got one too. They also have the Cody archives were out there from what I heard. I didn't buy one and I should have. They have a couple other things out there. They had these for $2. I don't know what character this is.
Didn't have those for $2.
$2. Yes, they did. $2. $2. They actually have some other Black Series on $2 clearance too. Yeah, I'm not joking. Like you should go look. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but if you don't go there, you can always go to Target. Target also has these on clearance. They do not list them as clearance on their website, but they do have them on clearance when you go into stores. I think they're like $12 there. So
you got to go to Marco's area because he doesn't buy Luke's, so they're all just sitting there warming the pig.
Here, to give you all an idea of Marco's area, I told him when I went to my Walmart that everything was gone except there were 4 Jar Jars left on the shelf. He said all the Jar Jars were cleared out in his area.
Yeah, there's no Jar Jars. No. People are painting like they're doing. If you haven't looked online, they're doing like a dark Jar Jar, which is amazing. I wish I had that artistic talent to do a dark Jar Jar because it's so cool. But you can't even find them in my area. You cannot find dark Jar Jar. Plus, I did see one. This is what I did. I heat and hawed because it's 30. Isn't it 30 because it's a premium figure?
Was it? It was in the wrong spot. Like they were on the bottom.
So the premium figure, and I was like, So I picked it up and put it back down, and then I went around the other aisle and came back and was like, maybe I'll pick it up, and it was gone. So I know Pete has got one of the best areas ever to go to, but in my area, you cannot get Jar Jar or anybody else. You have to be there.
I told you the only thing was there were 4 Jar Jars. That's it. It was only Jar Jar.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to do is start taking pictures. I might do this. We might do a live feed where I go into stores, and I'm not willing to like dig through. I know everybody wants to watch me dig through comic books and pull stuff. You have to do that live. I don't know if it's impressive or not. You can probably ask Jen what she thought about that experience. However, I will not do that because I just won't. I will go into stores, though, if you guys don't believe me, and I will show you the shelves and what goes on in the stores that I go to, and it is a little bit ridiculous.
Jen wrote an article. It's called "Scarred for Life."
Yes, I would be too.
With Marco.
Oh, it's so bad. So if you think I'm a crotchety old man in normal like this, where I get a little bit about it, just go watch me get out of my element in hunting and not be able to do what I normally do. I just go. We did have fun. We had. I hope she did too, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So they're all winners. Winning is the only male. They're all winners? Wait, who's all winners? The Skywalkers? Is that guy saying that the Skywalker family's all winners?
No. Whining is the only male.
I can't see out of my right eye right
Whining
now.
is the only.
Okay, yes, they are all whiners. Every one of them is whiners. Good, because I was about to say we can talk about how that is. Blue milk. By the way, has anybody gone to Disney? Dwayne Scott says that what's going on, by the way? That it's strong like blue milk. Has anybody had the blue milk before in
I have not.
No.
And
I may have.
My friends that go, they had annual passes. Disney this year canceled all the annual passes. So my friends that live in California, real close to Disneyland, that used to go almost every other week, now no longer can go because of all the stuff that's going on.
That's all right. I mean, that's all right. I'm just going to talk about the blue milk. They do actually have it.
Been there and they still have not tried it because I have asked them several times to give me a description. You have tried it, Marco?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I had caught something that's going around nowadays while I was there. So the flavor wasn't there. I will tell you that I don't drink a lot of sugar. Don't drink a lot of sugar. Just don't. I mean, it's not something I've ever really been big into. And even with all that going on, there's a lot of sugar in those drinks. So I might have to try them again. That's why I was kind of wondering.
Does it have like a labeled like what it's supposed to taste? Is it like blue raspberry or like
there's a couple different ones
what flavors it's supposed to be or?
So yeah. So I had a thing that's going around, and let's just say they didn't really know about it back then, and I was propped up on my legs, and all I can tell you is there's a lot of drugs, and it tastes like a sugar. Tastes like sugar, I guess. I mean, I was just buzzed all day long. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was also like, had the chills in the middle of the summer and whatever. Anyways,
I'm not diabetic, but I am now.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was like, woo! I was doing the Jar Jar Binks, dude. It was kind of crazy. So I hope somebody can tell us what that tastes like. I'm not quite sure I'd ever go back and try it again. But I think that's it.
Is it alcohol? Is there alcohol in it? I know that they have a bunch of alcohol drinks at their cantina there. I don't know if the blue
here. I know for a fact that Shannon does go down there a lot. Dragon fruit and something. They have that. They have a couple interesting drinks there. I think they have 2 versions: the dragon fruit drink and the other one. The one there, Shannon. It is very sugary though, correct? If I'm not wrong with that, I think it is.
All I know is I don't want any alcohol drink with milk. Like I don't want a mudslide. I don't want the dude's favorite White Russian. Like I don't want dairy in my alcohol because.
Yeah, there was, if I recall correctly, they had like little like the little gelatin balls in one of the drinks there too or something. I can't.
See, and that's part of the thing is being close to Disneyland, I'm not going to go there for the drinks. I quit drinking years ago and I don't drink alcohol. So it does me no, it would not behoove me because I've heard that most of the drinks at the cantina at Disney World, Disneyland for that stuff is alcohol infused. So
No, no, the ones there weren't. I definitely don't think they're definitely like the green and the blue are not infused with don't have any alcohol in them, but the other ones do. JJ says that he heard that hunting with Marco, he always assumed was like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
An episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
There's some of it. I mean, it depends on how far we have to drive, right? I mean I mean, it gets into it's. I don't know. I hope it's fun for everybody. Everybody seems to keep coming back for more, so I don't know.
How many hours? It was a lot of hours.
Oh, when me and you went? Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother story. I guess we could get into some. It doesn't really have much to do with Clone Wars.
It'll be longer, but it's okay.
Yeah, it was like, I think, well, we had
rabbit hole.
Yeah, I think just to get out to the spot, everybody complains like, oh, I don't have an LCS or I can't pull books like that. Well, just to get out where we were going to try to pull books, I think was almost an hour and a half to 2 hours away from where I live. And then, we were there for 6 or 8 hours, 7 hours, somewhere around.
How many hours past closing?
Well, they closed at 6 o'clock, and we didn't leave till 12 or 1. So you do the math. 12 o'clock? We leave at 12 o'clock. Yeah, so 6 hours.
11 or 10?
11. Okay, 11 o'clock.
11.
Yeah, because we didn't get back till like 12 or 1. Okay, so so we left at 11 or 12. So we were 5 or 6 hours after closing. But hey, I mean, everybody had a good time, I guess. Mm-hmm. It was fun. Yeah.
That's a good day of digging. I mean, if you can dig in shop for that long, that's a good shop. That's a good sign of a good shop.
There was that's a rabbit hole. There was all types of issues. Yes, there was somebody who walked out with like the first appearance of Clayface and for like $2 and some other stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm not mad. I walked out with a short box, I think, and Jen walked off with a huge stack of books.
Like a half short box, yeah. Yeah,
half a short box. And the couple guys I took with us, a couple of people, hey, what's up, BS, and what is up, Chris? They did pretty good. They were mad because it did take so long sometimes to check out that they had forgot other books too. Oh. But I mean, like there's a first Doom Patrol mid-grade that they were picking up for like $14. So like you should have just paid the $14, bro. Anyways, but that's neither here nor there. We can do stories with Marco one day on a different show.
I can do that every time.
Right. So excellent. Send us something, Aaron. Everybody, once again, go. We're going to put up what the next episodes we're going to do on the page. I will do it now. If you want to be involved with that, make sure this week. There you go.
Yep.
I got
Cat and Mouse and Hidden Enemy. Those are the two we're going to do. And then after that, we might start getting into 3 or 4 episodes, depending, because I think we can cut these down pretty quickly. Yeah. If you guys have any suggestions, make sure you put them down. I do respond back to them, or make sure you hit us up at the it'd really help if you just put the comments down underneath here of the video so that we can see them. Maybe this isn't how we should do it. Maybe we should do it a little better. We're trying to get better with this type of stuff.
Just real quick, like Jen said, that's season 2, episode 16, and then season 1, episode 16, if you want to watch along.
Yeah, you have to really follow the numbers on the right, the 100 numbers, because thank you, Jen, for doing that.
Season and then episode number after it.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yes, I just to get off my lawn. So anyways, if you guys do, put the comments down there. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Please still give us a thumbs up, but like tell us what we're doing wrong or what you like to see a little bit more. If you do want to come on, I don't know if we'll have people on for next week unless we can do a quick check. We might be able to do that. But after that,
earlier, if we can put that list in the IG. So we will try and throw that up in the IG so you guys can hit us up in that IG and take a picture of that and save it for your run.
Yep, absolutely. We'd like to hear your opinion on it too. And hopefully you guys enjoy watching along with us. We were trying to find out all the technical difficulties of actually playing it in the background, but then we, is what it is. All right. What we have set up this week, Jen, Monday night's going to be fun. You guys have to watch the Starship program, Tales from the Flipside. I know they have something very intriguing on this Monday.
Tomorrow night.
Please check it out tomorrow night. Jen, Tuesday night is always for Comic Book Women. You guys did a great job last week. Really enjoyed your guys' Jen.
It was our first tape show, technically.
Yeah, you're Jen too. I know. All right, so Jen, what do you guys have this week? Do you want to spoil it or no? You want to just tell me?
It's a hodgepodge. It's not nothing too,
Are we gonna get some reviews of some 80s stuff again? Because I always enjoy those.
No, it's more of a hodgepodge of like our first couple episodes where we like picked our picks.
Oh, nice.
And then some updates and stuff like that.
So 9 o'clock Eastern on that. Pete, what do we have coming out this week? If you didn't watch Muscles, if you didn't watch the Muscles thing, go on the channel, Tales from the Flip Side. Watch the Muscles. It's short, it's great, and it's got chapters in it, so you can skim up.
This week, Friday, when I drop Dollar Bin Digging, I'm going to step away from doing I've been doing all the Marvel, like the Disney Plus shows, and I did the Black Widow movie, like books kind of related to it. I'm going to take a pause from that just because I don't want to keep doing it forever. So I'm going to take a quick pause, do a little bit of a cover thing for this week for Dollar Bin Digging, and then Saturday morning, I'm doing, because I'm stepping away from Marvel, I'm going back to Marvel for toys. I'm doing Secret Wars for Saturday morning.
Nice. Solo, we are, what are we doing? Oh, Wednesday, we have got a couple new shows on. Make sure you're watching the Prospective in the morning. My man, Steve Horn, if there's somebody better, well, I mean, I'm better, but like besides me, if there's somebody better than Steve Horn, sorry, Steve, I love you. Let me know because he's the best. Watch the Prospective out there. You've also got Long Short. I can't say their names because I'm going to say their real names. I don't want to say their real names. And then in the evening, you got Maximus coming up. But then we have Thursday with Jedi Johnson. Please make sure you get that notification. I'm telling you, they won't even let me pre-watch it. But I know some stuff that happened in there because, I was in it. It's going to be good. Make sure you support your friend and ours, Jedi Johnson, from the chat. We really appreciate it.
Great show. It's a good one.
Good. I'm glad it is. I hope it comes out as great as I think it is in my head. That's on Thursday. We're going to do that at 9 Eastern Standard Time. I would think about moving it up an hour, so let us know also too in the comments if you think that's a good idea. If not, whatever. It's the tape show. We can do it. We can move it around a couple times. Slots. Then on Friday we have the top 10. We might also have a review because we're starting to do these comic book reviews. I hope you guys are enjoying them. We did the High Republic. I think we're going to do kind of the series and go over them really quickly. We might be doing Vader 7. So if you could read Vader 7, if I can get it done in time, we'll give you a quick synopsis, maybe 15 minutes of what's going on in Vader 7. And then when the arc ends, we'll do a whole arc thing with that. But make sure you check out Ben S. Hopefully you guys sold some books that make it onto the Hot 10 list. Yeah. Saturday, MCM is back again. That is a long show, but a fun show. Make sure you check out Matt, Kyle, and Solo Wookie, the Absolute Geek Squad, taking over MCM for all your pop culture needs. Sunday. See y'all back next Sunday. Maybe we'll have guests. Maybe we won't. Solo. Solo, take us out. Make sure, by the way, Wanted Comics, for all you people, we really appreciate you going out there and supporting Wanted Comics. That's Wanted COMIX. Legit. By the way, a little news out there for you. A guy by the name of Kevin Scott really enjoyed our review of his novel. And he's writing that High Republic right now. That's a good book. That really is a good book. Do look at the cover. Do see what Drew's doing over there with his covers. He's got a lot of cool things out there. He did get it back up and going. And if you order now, there's actually variants. He's just grab bagging a variant and throwing it in with your copies. So go out there, check out Wanted Comics real quickly. Solo, tell them, we've already told them what to do, but tell them what to do anyways and get us out of here.
All right, everybody. Please. We got 20 viewers, 2 thumbs up. Please go down. Give us that like. It helps us out greatly. Hit that subscribe button. Saber smash that bell so you can hear the greatest Star Wars chat this side of the galaxy. Never be afraid to go over and click on that super chat. If we're helping save you money, what's $2? And may the
I don't even know what that is.
You.
Always. Hey, thanks everybody in the chat. We'll see you guys next week. I forgot to end the broadcast. We're just ending it.
I got it.
Thank you.